Hello everybody, it's David. I've done a second video in 2 days, so I'm really on a roll. But I thought I'd take this opportunity to message uh, everybody that follows, which is really lovely of you, just to talk about what to do when you genuinely are under the weather. And I thought being under the weather as I am now, although I don't look like it, I think I'm coming down with the flu-y type thing. I've been coughing all day and I work with sick children, so having to get used to bugs is very common for me. But unfortunately, when you do get a cold or a flu or something along those lines, it can really knock you for six. And particularly afterwards, a lot of people find that when they do get a cold or flu, they generally find themselves quite depressed. And I know that I'm one of them, and I don't know whether it's some kind of chemical imbalance or. I find from personal experience when I'm suffering from a cold, I generally feel more serene and more calm, which is very bizarre. I don't know how other people who suffer from anxiety tend to react, but I have read in a few different places that they experience the same effect. But afterwards, for me, generally, that tapers off very quickly, and I go back to feeling I get quite down in the dumps. And I don't know what that is, whether that's just the body using up all its resources to try and keep you fit and strong. But there are ways that you can keep yourself busy while you're poorly and you're not feeling so good. I always find reading is good. Something I know Deepak Chopra is pretty good, or I like sci-fi, so I generally tend to read something a little bit not so heavy, so to speak. I play guitar and I sing, so I won't bore you too much with that yet, but I will probably at some point give you the links to my music and my album. So, and writing music for me is a very healthy outlet, I feel, to help me to vent my feelings and expressions and anxieties. Having said that, when I'm at my lowest points or at my most anxious, the guitar is the last thing on my mind. So, you do what you can and you do things one step at a time. So, you can't go from feeling, a million miles down to a million miles up unless you're manic depressive. But, I think I've experienced those symptoms and I don't truly believe that you can go to feeling on death's door to some kind of wonderful high. But if you find that that is the case with you, please let me know, because I'd be quite fascinated to kind of hear your stories on that. You have to do things one small step at a time. So look at it a little bit like a ladder. And I found things like showering. If you're particularly self conscious or aware, or you have particular OCD traits, it's very well worthwhile keeping a gauge of your progress, whether you're on medication or not. So keep a journal. I know somebody, a lady called Heather, has emailed me and said she's kept a journal of her symptoms, and I've been taught in CBT to do that. Keep a journal, write things down, how you feel, and what your symptoms are day to day, because then you can look back and you can say, gosh, I had that, 2, 3 months ago, because health anxiety unfortunately manifests itself in so many different ways that it's hard to keep track. But generally, when you find that you're accustomed to one of your symptoms, your body becomes cruel and generates another symptom, something to worry about. So for me, it could be skin. As I've talked about, my skin issues could start to flare up or dry out a little bit. If you're self-conscious and you're like me, you have to work in a care environment where you're using hand gel frequently, you're going to get dry hands. So you're going to be a bit self-conscious. Having said that, as another thing that kind of links in a little bit that I wanted to add, and I didn't really want to go off on a tangent, is a lot of people are talking about chest pains to me. And this is an experience that I suffered quite profoundly when I was about 20. I think it was about 20. I'm 35 now. Any comments telling me that I look younger would be very gratefully approved. um, but I not really sure. I sort of had a few stressful situations, but nothing particularly major or life threatening around that time. And general sort of teen, 19 to 20 sort of teen angst really. But as the heart palpitations and the pain got worse and worse, my anxiety increased, and there were evenings where I'd lie in bed and I would get like a stabbing pain in my chest, and I thought, God, this is it. I'm dead. This is the end of my life. And for any of you watching this and has experienced that or are experiencing that at the moment, I can fully sympathise with how you feel, because it's a real living nightmare. If I can reassure you, if I'm not a doctor, and I always do say, please check with the doctor. If you do have any, underlying health conditions, if you're having chest pains, you're over 40 or 50, perhaps you lead a sedentary lifestyle, you're not particularly active, and there are more risk factors, you're diabetic or whatever, then obviously it would be wise to get your blood pressure taken and, check yourself out, and hopefully that may provide a level of reassurance. Having said that, if you're under 40 and like me, and try and keep reasonably fit, the chances of it being a heart attack are very, very slight. One thing I can tell you is that muscles and nerves in the chest, they wrap around right round the back, so you may feel back pains and that constricting type feeling that you sort of you feel around there, and it kind of goes like that, and it's really awful. Or that kind of stabbing, like someone's stabbing a knife in you. That's the nerves and the muscles tensing up, and it's a horrible, horrible thing. All I can say is, if you're eating and you're walking and you're breathing, okay, you're not having a heart attack. Like I said, the mind is very capable of manifesting symptoms of a heart attack. And I know that when people do have heart attacks, they get pain, and I don't know which arm it is. I'm glad I don't. I've forgotten. That shoots down one side of the arm. And for a period of time, I had pains in my arms because all I could think about was a heart attack. So I was literally manifesting pain in either my right or my left arm, which reinforced my belief that I was actually having a heart attack. So it's quite frightening in itself how much your mind can alter how you feel and how you act. So hopefully my talk about chest pains and distractions when you are a little bit poorly to help you avoid getting more anxious and more depressed will be a little bit useful. If you have any comments or you have any suggestions as to topics that I can talk about, then please message me. I have a website where I have some handy tips. I post these videos on there, free resources, things that I found that I sat down and I thought, well, if I'm, what would I want? What would help me, rather than Google incessantly, which is obviously another health anxiety trait. I decided to try and put all my resources and all the knowledgeable armoury in one place, and hopefully if you guys check it out, you'll find it very beneficial. I've chatted to a lot of people on the No More Panic web forum. It's a great forum. I can recommend it. The administrators are very lovely and they've been very kind, allowing me to post my videos and chatting to them. It's a fantastic forum. If you do have a query, then that's a site well worth checking out. The administrators in particular, and there are some health anxiety veterans like myself that lurk around there as well, that can help you and offer you a little bit of guidance. That's definitely a resource well worth checking out. I don't know if I mentioned this in another video, but I was recommended a book called Mind Over Mood. I'm not sure who has written it. I think it was a Podolsky or something like that. I haven't managed to check that out, but I will do. Apparently it's a valuable resource. Another thing that have been recommended by a very lovely lady who suffers from anxiety is peppermint tea. So Bottoms up. It's not too bad actually. The more you drink, the better you feel, and it cleanses your bowels, and it's calming. It's antioxidant. It's very soothing, and it's very good for anxiety as well. And I must admit, having drunk a fair few cups of this during the day, I felt a lot more refreshed, and it's caffeine free, so you're hydrating yourself. So it's a win-win, and you can kind of ditch the coffee. I do like my coffee, and I would have 1 to 4 cups a day. But as we know, caffeine does tend to make us a little bit more anxious. So I've got to stop filming because I'm running out of time. So thank you very much, everyone, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye.